Saturday, February 4th is World Cancer Day, and according to the CDC, over 1.7 million new cancer cases were reported in the U.S. in 2019. Nearly 600,000 people died of cancer that year. Now, there are many different types of cancer that affect people across demographics, which makes screening essential to catching the disease early. Health One Physician Services Group recommends different screening intervals for different types of cancer. Joining us now is Dr. Scott Joy, an internal medicine physician and chief medical officer for Health One. We really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Well, let's just start right off the bat. What are some of the most common forms of cancer out there right now?
So I think the ones that we're most interested in screening for at this time are colon cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer. So colon cancer has gone through some recent changes and recommendations. It's now recommended that patients 45 years or older be screened. So before, it used to be patients in their 50s. Now the age of screening is decreased to 45. So I think that's a big change that viewers should be aware of.
Tell us some more about some of the different screening options out there and just why it's so important.
Yeah, we know that if we detect cancer at an early stage, patients have better outcomes, better 5-year life expectancies. So as an internal medicine primary care physician, we're looking at patients every year talking about their age-appropriate cancer screening. So for colon cancer, for example, colonoscopy remains the gold standard. That should be done every 5 to 10 years based on if polyps are found or not. But there are some new emerging tests for colon cancer. There's stool tests that look for DNA of polyps in a stool sample. And if that's negative, that test can be done every 3 years. So a lot of patients who were reluctant to go and take a half day off or a full day off of work for colon cancer screening, we can now mail a box to their house. They can collect the sample at home, and that is adequate screening for patients who are at average risk.
Now, we know treatments advancing, changing all the time. What are some of the biggest innovations you've seen recently?
I think what I'm very interested in is we now have emerging blood tests that screen for cancer. This is next generation tests that we have. We have a lot of cancers that are detected at a late stage, like ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer. We now have a single blood test that will look for abnormal proteins in a blood sample that puts a patient at higher risk for some of these cancers that we don't have good tests for at this time. So we're doing some early final clinical trials of this. In the next few years, it may be coming into the office to get a simple blood test and be screened for 50 plus different types of cancers from a single blood sample. Very, very exciting. And the other opportunity is we now have vaccines to prevent cancers. A lot of patients are unaware that the HPV or the Gardasil vaccine that a lot of younger teenagers will get from a prevention of for sexually transmitted diseases. We're giving HPV vaccine up to patients age 45, and we know that patients who get that HPV vaccine are at lower risk for head and neck cancers later in life. So blood tests for cancer screenings, vaccines to prevent cancers, those are exciting advances coming.
Well, some great information. Thank you so much for helping us try and spread some awareness today. We really appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank you, Dom.
All right. Don't forget, you can always find all of our health interviews right now on cbscolorado.com.